You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about living in the moment. So many times we get just tossed away or drawn in by, commitments and requirements and deadlines and things we should be doing. Sometimes we have to slow down the car in life and just be with people in the moment, experiencing new things. And that's what today's show is about. So if you're dealing with the anxieties of feeling like you're always on that hamster wheel and racing around town, this is the show for you to slow down. And let's talk about living in the moment. What do you want to achieve today? What brings you joy? Maybe it's achieving nothing and just being. Let's focus on that today. And again, that number is 800-333-0001. Also, our next segment, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest, Donna Weigel. And her story is very touching. She survived cervical cancer. She's currently dealing with ovarian cancer. But she's going to share with us how she lives in the moment despite all those treatments she has to go through. Also, we want to make sure that you're supported beyond today's show. Feel free to go to livingfullout.com to listen to the show again and get resources that you need to live in the moment. Now, we're going to go to the phone lines, talk to one of our callers. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
So recently, I feel like a relationship should be 50-50, and I feel like I put in more effort than I need to for my friends, and it makes me feel like I'm not as appreciated by them, and I'm wondering how to change or deal with it.
Now, this is your son that we're talking about?
No, my friends.
Oh, your friend. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Got it. Okay. So you are right.
Okay.
You are... yes, okay. You're 100% right. A relationship should be 50-50. And the thing is, though, is you have to evaluate sometimes if a relationship is one that you are consistently in every day, every week, every month, or some friendships are just meant to be every once in a while, once a month, once a year, once every couple years. And so sometimes you have to kind of evaluate your friendships. Is this one where maybe either you guys are growing apart, maybe they have other obligations or other activities that they've been doing? What's the pull there? What's the pain?
Well, we actually kind of see each other every day, but so it's not like we're growing distance per se, but I feel like recently, he's been, I guess, trying to exclude me out of things, and purposefully, and I can tell because I know my other friends have been kind of saying this, and there were a few instances where she kind of was like, hey, this is just a me and this person thing, and kind of just not inviting me, and she always tends to bring it up.
Well, and that hurts, right? It hurts not to be included, especially when you have been in the past. And so here's my 2 pieces of advice for you, okay? And this is a sticky situation. There's no real good answer, sadly. But you have I see 2 ways that you can go. 3 ways, actually. Number 1 is you can just give her space. You know what? If someone isn't going to invite you to something, you don't want to beg and plead, right? Just give her space.
Yeah.
And just see how the friendship unfolds. Stop the pressure of asking and just see if she distances herself more and more and excludes you more and more, or if maybe she starts to miss you and miss you being at these activities. Number 2 is you can kind of confront her. But when you do that, the learning is asking why. why am I being excluded? If you and this other person and I, the three of us, all used to hang out, and now you just want to be with that person, can you just tell me why? Now, maybe it has nothing to do with you. It might mean that they feel like they need some quality time with that person. Who knows? Maybe there's something that they need to talk to that person about. Maybe that person has recently confided in them about something going on in their life that you don't know about, and it has nothing to do with you, right? And she might or he might not be able to tell you what that is, but there could be a really good reason why they need to be together. And again, it may not involve you. And then number 3, you might have to reevaluate if this is a daily, weekly friendship. And maybe start to develop more relationships on your own. It's interesting. Life kind of pushes us in the side sometimes. It gives us a little nudge. And this might be life's way of saying, hey, listen, I'm going to take away this friendship a little bit so that it forces you to meet new people. Because we don't meet new people when we're hanging out with the same crew day in and day out. But when those people are not with you on a daily basis, that's when you start to make new friendships. So I would maybe start to, arms wide open, meet new people. So it could go 3 different ways, but at least there's options. Okay?
Yeah.
And the strength that you have is not fighting and nagging and willing and wanting and desiring, but to sit back and watch. Just watch to see how things unfold. Okay?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you so much for calling in. We'll be thinking of you. Hang in there.
All right. Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you.
So many different options. I mean, she's going to have to really live in the moment in figuring out where does that friendship go. Now we're going to go to the phone lines again. Say hi to a caller. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What's going on? How can we help you today?
My question was, I was wondering how I can get over the fear of confrontation and how to deal with that.
That is such a good question. I mean, trust me, I'm a lover, not a fighter also, right? I don't like it. I don't like debating. I don't like confrontation. I'm with you. But where do you feel like the biggest pain is? Is there one particular person, or is it just overall when things get sticky and hard that you just want to run the other way?
I think it's overall when things get sticky.
Okay. And if you were to go back in your childhood, I mean, was there a time that you did try to stand up for yourself? You did try to have an opinion and were you shut down? Or why do you think you act this way?
I think it would probably stem down to my childhood. I've kind of always felt this way when it comes to confrontation.
Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is when we're children, people start to gather info about who we are, especially if we have siblings or we're hanging out with friends, somebody's the silly one, the nerdy one, right? The one that constantly gets in trouble, right? We kind of get labeled early. And then sometimes there's this hierarchy amongst families and friendships and so forth where, one person is more boisterous than another and it can kind of overshadow you from feeling free to say who you are. But the beauty about life is you get to be who you are as an adult. And anyone who can't accept who you are, that again might not be a friendship you want to keep. Now, you can't toss family members. I get that. Some people wish they could, but you can't, right? But what you can do is kind of have the attitude of there's a new sheriff in town, okay? And I want you all to know that while I was growing up, trying to find my way, trying to find my voice, I kind of let you all take the lead. I kind of did everything I was told to do. But you know what? I've kind of decided that I need to live my life. I need to live in the moment. And I just want to let you all know that I'm going to make a declaration. It's not going to be like I'm pulling the rug from under you, but I want you all to know that I'm going to make some changes. And when you guys have something that I don't agree with, I'm going to tell you. And if I don't want to go to XYZ event, I'm not going to go. It kind of comes with attitude, and it's going to be uncomfortable, right? They're going to have to get used to it. But what you're going to find is it's going to set you free. It's going to allow you to say, wow, why was I holding myself back? Why was I living in the shadow of the person I knew I could be? But that comes from you. All the other people will fall in line. You just have to let them know, hey, listen, I'm growing, I'm changing, and I'm letting you all know. Can you do that?
Yes.
Or at least try. Do I get a little bigger yes?
I will.
Slightly bigger yes? You will. Okay.
Try.
Thank you so. There you go. Thank you so much for calling in. And when we come back, everybody, we're going to be joined by, you're welcome, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest, Donna Weigel. Honestly, what a touching story. You don't want to miss it. She is all about living full out, living in the moment, and she's a great testimony to all that we can be in life. So stay with us. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show, and today we're talking about living in the moment. And sometimes that's easier said than done, right? Like, how do you calm down the voices in our head, the anxiety, the pains, the stresses? Well, I have brought you a very special inspirational guest today, Donna Weigel. Being someone who has gone through cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, she's learned how to live in the moment. And not just because she had to, but because although cancer can be such a scary word, it actually has brought out in Donna the best of her. I mean, she is living full out. And so I'd very much like to welcome her to the show. Hello, Donna.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's amazing what you've gone through. But at the same time, I'm not amazed because of who you are. I mean, you guys have to understand, this is a Harley riding woman, right? I mean, she's a tough one to break. But I want you to share with our audience, just take us back a little bit. I know that you were diagnosed, obviously, with cervical cancer first. And can you share with us kind of the day around when you learned of that cancer, that you had it?
Sure. So I was 30 years old at the time when I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. I'm now 59 years old. I was involved with a very nice gentleman, young man at the time, and we were living together, and I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. And what was recommended to me was, surgery, a hysterectomy that would take away any of our chances of having children together. And so it was a very difficult time for me and for my now husband, Charlie. I have to say, we stayed together. We got married about 2 years after that. And it was a very difficult time for us because it was our life moving forward was going to be changed forever. But we got through it, and we moved past it, and I think we've had a really full life since then.
And you went through the therapies that they suggested, and you finally completed all of that. And thankfully, it's been gone for 30 years. But how did you manage the anxiety just after the treatments of, what if it comes back? Because you didn't know about ovarian cancer then. I mean, this was many, many years ago. How did you manage the stress during that time?
So I think one thing that I remember was I was unable to get life insurance because I had this cervical cancer. I had a partial hysterectomy. They left my ovaries behind because I was only 30 at the time. And I went through radiation treatment, 6 weeks of radiation treatment because my cervical cancer had spread to my lymph nodes. And I remember something that sticks in my mind from all those years ago was that I would have to wait 5 years before I would be able to get life insurance, because if you were to survive 5 years beyond a cancer diagnosis, then you sort of went back into the pool of normal, women at a normal risk for, any other kind of cancer. So the first 5 years, I think, were kind of difficult. And of course, my body changed forever at that point. And so that was kind of hard. But I was always someone I think I've always been someone who has been living in the moment. I went on with my life, my job, I was a very big outdoors person, playing sports, doing all kinds of stuff like that. So I had a lot going on in my life. So I've never been someone who would kind of sit home alone and dwell on the negative. I accept what has been, thrown at me, and then I look at the options and I make the choice that I think feels best to me. And I never look back and say, well, what if I had done the other thing? I just continue to move forward, put one foot in front of the other. And I did have a period of 25 years between the first cancer until my second cancer diagnosis of ovarian cancer. And I had 25 really great active years of life.
Well, and that is to be celebrated because, you weren't living in the past. You were celebrating and enjoying those 25 years. And you were always an athletic person. You enjoyed working out. And it was finally in 2013 that you started feeling off. You started feeling symptoms that were not normal. Can you share with us about that?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. In 2013, I was doing Zumba classes. That was my form of exercise at that point, plus still leading a very active life. I do a lot of motorcycle riding, things like that. And I remember one morning I got up and I went to a Zumba exercise class, and I just didn't feel right. I had bad abdominal pain. Something was just not right. And I actually thought, well, I'll go to this class. I'll do my routine. And I'll work through this uncomfortable feeling. And I actually had to leave the exercise class early and go home, which is something I'm not a quitter of anything. So quitting an exercise workout that was easy for me to do seemed really unusual for me. And I went home, and I had to be somewhere later that morning. And I jumped in the shower, and I got out of the shower, and I just didn't feel right. And I had this episode of something where I felt like I was, shaking uncontrollably. I had like chills. I called my husband on my cell phone, and I said, "You need to come home from work right away. Something is wrong with me." And so he immediately came home from work and took one look at me and said, "You need to go to the hospital." And I put up no argument at all. Normally I'd say, "Oh, no, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going to the emergency room for anything." And I readily agreed and was taken to the hospital. And that was September of 2013. And they really couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But in hindsight, once I was diagnosed, 2.5 years later with ovarian cancer, when I had presented in the emergency room in 2013, I really did have classic symptoms of ovarian cancer. But I think the problem is not only do women not know what the symptoms of ovarian cancer are, medical providers do not know either. Most women diagnosed with ovarian cancer are diagnosed stage 3 and stage 4. Many women have a similar story to me, that it takes, maybe not 2.5 years, but a significant amount of time to come up with a diagnosis for this cancer.
Wow. And, again, you can't fault the doctors if they don't know. And I'm sure the testing has gotten better, but it is kind of an unnerving time. But thankfully in that 2 years, you had another pretty good 2 years until you started not feeling so good again. And with ovarian cancer, like getting those words that you got cancer again, was it like, did you have kind of this really moment? Like, I survived the first one. Now you're giving me a second one?
I did. I knew something was wrong with me during that time, from September of 2013 to April of 2016, when I finally got a diagnosis. And it just seemed unbelievable that this could be happening to me again.
Well, it's one of those things where it's unbelievable, but at the same time, I have not lost track. I mean, you have touched my heart since when I first met you, so I'm so excited to share the rest of your story and insights with our audience, because you really have grown so much through all these diagnoses in really embracing what it means to live in the moment. So stay with us, Donna. We're going to be coming right back. And for everybody, I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about really living in the moment, living full out in the best way you can. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, Use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about living in the moment and really focusing on what is good around us and trying to find ways to manage the stress and the pain that we're dealing with. And our inspirational guest today, Donna Weigel, is no stranger to needing to really focus and allow ourselves to enjoy the joys of life. So I'd like to welcome Donna back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad to be here again.
Well, I'm honestly really proud to have you on the show today. And after being told that you had ovarian cancer in 2016 and being given that diagnosis, and once you kind of got used to the fact that, okay, here I go again, unfortunately, the options were limited for you. They weren't as plenty as they were when you had your first cancer. Can you share with us why that was?
Yeah, that's right. So there are many different subtypes of ovarian cancer, just like there are many different subtypes of other cancers as well. And I had a type of ovarian cancer that's called low-grade serous carcinoma. And this particular cancer does not respond well to chemotherapy. So I made the rounds here in Maine, where I live, of the providers, the GYN oncologist and the specialists here. And I ended up going down to Boston to Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to have the experts down there weigh in on my case. And they concurred the same thing, that this particular cancer does not respond well to chemotherapy. And most ovarian cancer patients would be having surgery first and then chemotherapy, regardless of what type of ovarian cancer they have. I was unable to have surgery to remove the ovaries because of the radiation treatment I had all those years ago for my cervical cancer. There's just too much damage from the pelvic radiation. So when I went down there, they said, not only can you not have the surgery to remove the visible cancer, remove the ovaries, you also have this cancer that has a 5 to 10% chance of responding to chemotherapy. And so they deliver it much differently. They deliver it every 7 days, where most chemotherapy patients are getting chemotherapy every 21 days, once every 3 weeks. So I came back to Maine to start my treatment and had a really hard go of it. Chemotherapy every 7 days is really, really quite challenging. And I kind of said to myself, well, they wouldn't be offering me this if they didn't think I was tough enough to get through it, is what I kind of told myself. And in the beginning, I really wasn't sure I was tough enough to get through it. I really had a hard time. And I got to 10 treatments of the 18 I was supposed to have. And one of the side effects of the drugs they use for ovarian cancer is a terrible neuropathy in your feet and your hands. And I developed that on the 10th treatment, and I really could hardly walk. I could hardly get out of my bed and walk to the bathroom. And so my oncologist gave me a week off from treatment, and I called him on the 6th day that I was off and said, I won't be coming in tomorrow for my treatment. And he said, you're not? And I said, no. I said, I don't think my feet have improved much. And I wasn't willing for my feet to get worse. And this neuropathy can be permanent. A lot of cancer patients have permanent neuropathy. So I just quit the chemotherapy. I said, I'm just going to quit the chemotherapy and hope to get some quality of life back for as long as I could. And one thing that I always tell people about myself is I really don't care how long I live. I am not one of those cancer patients that will do anything and everything to live longer. I really only care how well I live. And that's my main goal and my main focus is to live well for as long as I can. And so that's really how I've been living my life.
Well, that is in alignment with what we're talking today, right? Living in the moment, and you're all about that. And you would think her story would end there, but amazingly, and I was really touched when you shared this with me, when we had a call just not too far back, a couple weeks ago, unfortunately you got further news from your doctor. Can you share with us that recent development?
I did. On a CAT scan about a year ago, we noticed there was a lymph node in the right chest area that was enlarged somewhat, and we've been watching it, through, every 3 months CAT scans. And in a year's time, it tripled in size. So I had to have a biopsy done to see what was this growth in my chest. And I had the biopsy done in early June, and the biopsy has come back as ovarian cancer spread to the chest. And this particular time, it's come back as a different subtype of ovarian cancer. It's not the low-grade serous that I was originally diagnosed with. It's now high-grade serous, which is a much more aggressive cancer, a much poorer prognosis outcome of this. And, of course, it has now spread out of the pelvic abdominal area into the chest area. So that was kind of another gut punch. I expected it to be ovarian cancer spread, but I didn't expect it to be this high-grade that I'm now dealing with. And one of my oncologists said just last week, she goes, the fact that this is high-grade serous is a game changer for you, Donna. And a game changer in a very negative way. So that was another difficult pill to swallow, so to speak, and try to figure out what were my options about this particular spread of cancer. So I'm working on those options now, and I think I've come up with a plan.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you're living in the moment, but you're also somebody who wants to celebrate and enjoy your life. And that's why you stopped going to those treatments. And you were also very brave back when you got your first ovarian cancer diagnosis, you ask them, how much time do you have? And I don't know that a lot of people would say that, but it was important to you to make the most of your time. And in the most recent conversations, have you asked that again?
Well, it's interesting, and I'm going to share some good news with you. So to backtrack, I did ask about my prognosis when I was at Dana-Farber. And the way I asked that question was, I said, can you give me an honest prognosis? And I wanted the oncologist to know that I truly wanted to know their best guess as to how much time I had left to, in my life. And she said to me, 5 years. You have, 5 years is our best estimate for your life expectancy. And I'm not someone who is very emotional or cries easy. And I remember leaving Dana-Farber with my husband, and we went back to where we were staying, and I sat at the table and I just cried about it. And the funny thing was, the thing that bothered me the most, I think, about it was I remember saying to my husband, 5 years, oh my gosh, I'm never even going to collect my first Social Security check. You work your whole life, you pay in, you expect a retirement and things like that. But that 5-year prognosis has allowed me to live my life as if I'm only going to live 5 years. I'm over 3 years into that time period now, and this tumor in the chest is not surprising, because something had to change if I was on track for a 5-year prognosis. But I went to see a surgeon this past Wednesday in Portland, Maine, a thoracic oncology surgeon, so he deals with chest surgeries, lung cancers, breast cancers, things like that. And so I went down to see him and rode my motorcycle 180 miles to Portland, Maine to see this particular provider. And he said he thinks that he can remove this tumor in its entirety. And he said, now that, you have this high grade in your chest, he said it does put you as a stage 4 cancer patient. And when he said stage 4, I thought, that just sounded so dreadful. I was originally diagnosed as stage 3B, and there's only stage 3C between that and stage 4. But something about just hearing those words come out of his mouth, stage 4, were kind of, just somewhat alarming. But he feels very confident that he can remove this tumor and that that particular cancer will be gone. And so I feel confident about it, and that's my plan, to have this surgery and hope for the best.
Well, and you know what? You're you know what I love about you, Donna, is there you are, riding your motorcycle to your doctor's appointment, right? And it doesn't stop there. You want to continue to educate people, and I believe you will do that till your final breath, and we all need to live that way. There's no guarantees that we have 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And so ever since I met you, you've made me want to look at my life more game on, And in fact, you are spearheading a campaign. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. So, I've been going to a retreat for the last 3 years and for ovarian cancer patients, and there were 25 women there the first year I went, and I think there's only 8 of those women still alive. The rest of them are gone. And I kept thinking, I have to do something. There has to be something that I can do to help women. And so I'm doing a cross-country motorcycle trip. And the color for ovarian cancer is teal, just like pink is for breast cancer. So I bought a teal and white Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and my trip is called Teal on Wheels. It's an ovarian cancer awareness tour, and I will be doing this during the month of September, which is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. So my goal is to raise awareness about ovarian cancer all across the country, and just talk to every woman I can find, give them a card with symptoms, give them a refrigerator magnet, talk to them about my story, and just educate people all across the country in hopes of raising awareness about this terrible cancer.
Well, Donna, if there's any way to do life, I think you've done it to the 10th power, right? I mean, you've got a good partner by your side. You've met great doctors along the way in and out of all these different cancers. You've taken pain and you've made it a purpose. And I don't think you can ask for more than that in life. And then here you are, where you should be off cruising around the world. You're further educating people. I mean, you are just amazing. And I really appreciate you sharing your story with us today. And, what does living full out mean to you?
I think living full out to me means that I get up each morning and I make the best of each day that I have, and I live a purposeful life. And by that I mean I help people. I do things for other people because the reward of helping other people is so fulfilling to me. And so that's really how I've lived my life. And I look at this trip, my Teal on Wheels trip, as another way of helping people that I've never even met before, but just making these contacts, sharing my information with them. And I don't know if I can put a plug in here, Nancy. I'm going to take the opportunity. I have a website.
We have 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yep, it's called Teal on Wheels, tealonwheels.org, and you can find all the information you want to find out about my cross-country trip on that website. And you can contact me and you can follow me as I zigzag across the country spreading awareness about ovarian cancer.
Well, I think you're, just like I said, amazing, and thank you for sharing your story with us today. We'll be sending you positive wishes, and everybody check her out online and support her mission there. And thank you, Donna, so much for being on the show.
So much, Nancy, for having me as a guest today.
Absolutely. And for everybody, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls. It's about living in the moment. Donna gave us her inspiring story, and now we want to hear from you. So I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org.
Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When we consider living in the moment, you want to look at it in two different ways. You want to look ahead into your future. What would you like to achieve? What would you want to do? Who would you want to spend time with? But at the same time, really bask in today. Celebrate who you are in the moment and enjoy the people that you're with. That's what it means to live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about living in the moment. And I know that sometimes it is just tough, right? We're just pulled in numerous different directions, and that's a lot of energy output. But sometimes you got to get a little selfish. You got to pull back. You got to hunker down and sometimes spend a night at home and recharge, or save up and take that vacation. Because just like hearing Donna's story, we never know. We may not have our entire life. We may only have a limited amount of time, and you want to enjoy it. The whole goal of life is you don't want to look back and say, I wish I had the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, that gray zone, right? You want to get out of that gray zone and really celebrate today. Now, we're going to go to the phone lines and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
So the problem that I'm currently dealing with, it has to do with two of my good friends. They are actually from two separate friend groups, and they've started to develop feelings for each other. I obviously want the best for the both of them, and if dating is what makes them happy, then they should do that. But I'm just worried that if they do date, it will change the dynamic in the friend group and my relationships with them. So my question is, how can I be supportive, even though I don't completely approve of the relationship, and still keep my good friends at the end of the day?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Of course.
You're not good. Okay. You might not like it. Okay. My honest opinion is when it comes to matters of the heart, you kind of have to stand back and let it all unfold. Now, if one of them come to you and they ask your opinion, or if they, vent and are trying to decide, do they stay in the relationship or not? Well, then they've asked for your opinion. So then you give it, right? Because you're just speaking from the heart yourself. The thing is everybody's life is meant to be lived in its own unique way, right? And it's kind of like if they were making a dish, a casserole, and it's the casserole of their relationship, right? They don't need you coming over and stirring the pot, right? Mm-hmm. They don't need your help putting in the ingredients because it's their dish. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And so, and that's a weird example. I'm sorry, I'm hungry. But the thing is, you have to kind of master in life sometimes that it's better to be still, to be patient, to watch, than to react. Now, of course, if somebody is causing harm to themselves or to another person, like if it was like an abusive situation, well, even at that, you don't want to insert yourself too much, but maybe you would in a different way to protect them. But in this way, you really have to let their love story be written by them. They don't need a co-author. Right. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, if it works out, how great will that be? right? How great will that be? But if it doesn't work out, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had a couple different relationships that haven't worked out. Have you had a relationship that hadn't worked out?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So what if somebody told you way back when, don't go out with him, don't do it, I won't let you, right? You would want to do it more. So in fact, by you inserting your voice, it makes them want each other more. You see that?
Yeah.
So you want to be the best friend you can by wishing them well, by hoping it works out, and hoping that everything stays the course and there's no changes or ripples in the water, right? But at the same time, that good friend that you are, if something should change, if the times do get tough, you'll be there to catch their fall. That is what it means to be a good friend.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so it's a tough one, but just, just sit back, watch, let them write it out, okay? But thank you so much for calling in. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And for everybody listening today, it's all about living in the moment. And I know it's hard. There's this balance between wanting to be aggressive and tenacious and go after life full throttle. And then there's other times you just have to kind of sit back, be patient, let life unfold. And that is sometimes tricky. But that is all what it means to live full out, right? So thank you for everybody who listened today, and I want to make sure that you stay empowered. Go to Living Full Out because we actually have various blogs on today's topic. We want you to embrace change and not be afraid of it. We want you to love big and be adventurous and most of all, maximize the time we have on this planet. Really enjoy the game of life. And our entire Living Full Out family looks forward to bringing you more inspiring content, inspirational guests. And thank you so much for listening today. Go to livingfullout.com to hear this episode again. Check us out by going to the app stores. Just look out for Living Full Out Radio. And of course, if you need support on today's topic, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Until then, here's to you living your life full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.